Yeah, there we go. And we are now live. What is going on, my pretty babies? You are checking out an all new The RCWR Show coming at you all on a special Thursday night, February the 15th, 2018. I am the one and only Lee Sanders. Thank you guys so much that are checking this out right now live, or maybe you're going to be checking it out on demand and or on the downloads. I appreciate the love and the support as always. However you're checking it out, because we are simulcasting live right now. We're doing it on YouTube. We're doing it on Spreaker. We're doing it on Facebook. Take your pick. I've got something to say with regards to the social media platforms as well. Something I had saw interesting over the weekend, and I'm just now getting around to checking it out. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a hot second. But hey, man, I hope despite all the craziness that's been happening this week, somehow through it all, y'all have been, I don't know, somehow been in better spirits. I hope. I really hope. You see the title of the episode, you kind of know where I'm getting at. But despite some of the craziness that's happened, we also got some fun topics that we can dive into. Crazy week that it's been. As always, I want to hear from you guys. Hey, make sure you do me a huge favor and you click on the like, you click on the heart. Really helps out, man. Really helps out big time. So, covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. I've had a really great, fantastic week. Look, I got to rewind it back. I got to give a big shout out and nothing but love to my boys, Anthony Missionary Thomas and the Joey Numbers of Wrestling Soup. If you guys did not get a chance to check it out last week, I actually made an appearance on Wrestling Soup. What was supposed to honestly be like 20 minutes, it ended up being me hanging out for the entire show. So if you guys love Wrestling Soup, hell, maybe you never even heard of Wrestling Soup. I promise by the time you go check out my appearance over there, not only are you going to love what I did over there, some of you may be like, Lee, can you bring a little bit of what you did on Wrestling Soup over here? It just depends on my mood, honestly. But I thoroughly had enjoyed that. It honestly was just supposed to be for about 20 minutes, but next thing I know, it was just on the spot. Lee, what's up? Can you hang out? Want to hang out for a little bit? And I'm going, hey, I got my beer. I'm happy. Yeah, let's do it. I didn't have any plans, honestly. So it was a nice, quiet evening for me, but I loved it. I enjoyed it. Been hearing a lot of good, positive feedback with regards to that appearance. And honestly, hey, anytime. That's my whole thing to Mission Joy. Anytime you name it, I'm more than willing to come on, help out. Honestly, I care more about the listeners, so I'm glad that they had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. It sincerely was a lot of fun. And I tell you, when you get me with the right people, I just know how to hang with them. I just hang with the best of them, man. So we had that. And going into this week, we are about to get the word on whether or not the RCWR show is going to be taking the show on the road once again to cover Awesome Con. I'm supposed to know sometime tomorrow or before the weekend. So in either case, good news, bad news, we'll share how that all had came about with you guys on next week's show. I'm looking forward to that. But I would suspect we're definitely going to be able to take the show on the road again. And if you guys didn't get a chance to see some of the video highlights that had came about from last year's Awesome Con, I would recommend after you get done checking out this episode, you can easily hop on the Facebook page. You can see some of the stuff that way, or you can just hop on YouTube and you can see a lot of the content that way from all the Awesome Con highlights. And it was a huge announcement that was made literally the other day. Apparently, Stan the Man Lee Excelsior is going to be coming back once again, and that has shocked a lot of us over here in the DMV area, because originally when Stan Lee had came by last year, all of us were told, we were told by like his people that this was pretty much going to be it. He was going to be retiring. This was it. This was his last run doing the cons. And as you all know, shortly after,
he had did Awesome Con. His wife had passed away, so one can't help but wonder if maybe he's just trying to stay busy, and this is kind of his coping mechanism, if you will. He's just trying to stay busy or whatnot. Look, I've already got in my photo opportunities and all that with Stan Lee. If there was any part of me that was interested in something Stan Lee related, maybe to get his autograph on something. I have so many favorite comic books that I've read over the years that jump in my mind off the break that I would just go, you know what? I would love to like get an issue of this in mint condition and give it to Stan Lee to sign. Couple of them come to mind. One, Secret Wars, the very first appearance of the black symbiote costume for Spider-Man. That jumps out at me off the break. The original Infinity War miniseries. I know the graphic novel has been reprinted many times. So, I mean, even a reprint of the novel, that would be like pretty badass. I'm also thinking about the first appearance of Venom. I'm also thinking about Venom #1 that was illustrated by one of my favorite all-time artists, Mark Bagley. I got so many like awesome memories of certain comics I had liked from Marvel that I would love to see Stan Lee sign. But as it stands right now, it's jam packed. I don't think I really told you guys the card, but like we have Stan Lee, he's going to be showing up. We have Black Lightning, Cress Williams himself. He got announced about almost 2.5 weeks ago. He's going to be there. I'm excited for that. We also have Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor on Smallville. Tom Welling, Smallville, Clark Kent himself. He's going to be there as well. They aren't doing any VIP packages either. They're just going to be there to sign autographs, take photo ops. Why they didn't want to take advantage of a whole VIP thing, you got me, because that's how a lot of them do it, to try to maximize on profits. But these guys, they're like, no, we just want to make sure that all the fans are able to see us. Prices are pretty much affordable. So bad respect for them for setting it up like that. But of course, the biggest talk of Awesome Con is the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, you pretty much got the heavy hitters being led by Dave Bautista, who's going to be there. We just got the announcement that all 3 members of New Day, they're going to be there. They're going to be there for only 1 day, though, but they'll be there for photo ops. They'll be there for autographs. So this year, I got to say, the lineup so far, damn impressive. It's like, man, how do you top last year? How do you match what you had did last year? And I tell you what, man, the crew, they are already off to a fantastic start. Let me tell you, off to a fantastic start. I'm loving it. So we got that's going down. What else do we have that's going down? We just wrapped up Slow Jamming with Lee. We just wrapped up. What was that, guys? What was that? The 5th annual, or was that the 6th annual? Was that 6 or 5? That was the 5th annual Slow Jamming with Lee Valentine's Day event. I would highly recommend you guys check that out if y'all did not do so. Every single year, Valentine's Day, I kick back and I play some of the best old school tunes. Yeah, you probably could go on iHeartRadio, but you got to do all that searching, and then you got to go into your playlist. You got to listen to stuff that's out of whack. It's not like iTunes or maybe Spotify and a couple other places where you could have your own unique playlist or whatever. And the challenge, it's a fun challenge for me. When I go in every single year to do these slow jamming specials, the challenge for me is to always try to make a unique custom playlist that you guys enjoy more and more and more. And I had a lot of fun doing it this year, especially with some of the help I had gotten in certain departments. And I was literally talking to the girl about it the other day. And I said, the evolution that I'd like to see slow jamming go, I'd love for it to be a situation where we've got pillow talk and we've got music. And she was like, I can actually see you really taking it to that next step. Who's going to be your co-host, though, if you decide you want to have a co-host for the pillow talk portion? That should be an interesting one. But she's encouraging me. She's like, yeah, she's like, because her and her friends, they love when I do the slow jamming specials. So it's, what can I say? Everybody loves the slow jamming specials, apparently. Even the guys love the slow jamming with Lee special. So check that out. So honestly, I've had a really fun, busy week. Me and Tammy are actually going to be hooking up this week to drop another 30 with Lee episode. We were supposed to drop it last week, but my schedule with work and other projects, because I actually was working for some clients, it got really hectic. So it was kind of like, I come back to that later. So I think what we're going to be reviewing this go round is a bit of a hidden gem, a 2014 Al Pacino movie by the name of Danny Collins. For those of you that maybe have not seen that movie, you'll definitely want to check out the next edition of 30 with Lee. That is exclusive to our Patreon members only. Later on in the show, I'm going to share with you guys some info on the Patreon, because that actually had got a little bit of a facelift slash revamp. So as far as tiers and all that goes, what you get, all that has changed. I'll mention that in the later part of the show. Before I go any further, let's have some real talk for a moment. Let's have some serious real talk. And I've got to go this way. And I know that, especially for those that maybe are going to be listening to this on the downloads, you may not like some of the things I'm getting ready to talk about, but you should know by now that we've been covering all things wrestling, entertainment, headlines since 2011. So this could be a very touchy, sensitive subject for a lot of people, but we're going to go there. So for the live audience, I appreciate you all's patience with this. And I think you guys know by now where I'm going. For those of you that's going to be listening to this on demand, on the downloads after the fact, you have a very powerful ally at your fingertips, which is the fast forward button. So on that note, and I see so many people that are saying these things, but what I just started doing probably midway 2017, I just started to say, okay, you know what? Bump thoughts, bump prayers. It's good to have. It really is, especially when you are sincere about it. But something new that I started adding to the mix is resolution. So, my thoughts, my prayers, but most importantly, resolution to and for the victims that were affected by these devastating Florida school shootings that came about this week, that pretty much had overshadowed Valentine's Day. I mean, we also had a serious incident that had took place in the DMV at the NSA. And luckily, nobody from that was hurt. Security over there, they did a really superb job. But you hear about these 17 victims from the Florida school shootings that had lost their lives. And you're going, oh my God, that is just so senseless. That is just so heart wrenching. That is just so heartbreaking to see. Just think about that for a second. And we know the basic demographics of our audience, right? Like a lot of you are anywhere from 16 right on up to your early 50s. That's checking out the show, right? So just think back to when you were going to elementary school, pre-kindergarten, and just all of that back in the day. And when your parents would drop you off at school, or you get on the big cheese bus, as we used to nickname it in certain parts of my neighborhood in Chicago, you went to school, you got your education, you got a good meal. In some cases, for a lot of us, we relied on two meals. We relied on breakfast and lunch from school, because we knew that money was tight in the household. Hell, I don't know how it was for some of you guys, but my mom was on food stamps. Okay. So I mean, for me, it definitely was important for me to go to school, because I needed that breakfast. I needed that lunch. I come home, I get a guaranteed hot meal. I get dinner. Weekends, okay, I'm getting 3 meals, because school on the weekends. No, duh, right? But we go to school because we got to get our education on. We are amongst teachers and faculty staff that try to treat us first and foremost with respect. They realize that they have our future in the palm of their hands, and they are trying to mold it as best as humanly possible, make us be really great contributors to society. I've always looked at teachers and staff at schools as an extension of one's immediate family, because these good, hardworking people that work in the school system, be it public or private, they have the best, majority of them, they have the best intentions at heart for the kids that go to school. And a lot of these members treat the kids as if they were their own, right? So to just imagine that. Just imagine you're a parent for a second and you're dropping your kid off to school. Have a great day. Don't skip your classes. Make sure you eat breakfast and lunch. And I'll see you later. And just hours later, you hear about all this horrific crap that was going on. I'm not going to even give this sick man, this sick bastard, I'm not even going to do him justice by mentioning his name, because as far as I'm concerned, he has gotten enough praise. And I don't mean praise as in like a golf clap. What I mean by praise is he's gotten his 15 minutes of fame as it is by social media, by our news media outlets. And I wish stuff like that would just stop. I wish it could just be more focused on the tragedy, the victims, bump the whole gunman, whoever was doing the crime. We don't need to hear their name. We don't need to give them that praise. Seriously, because that's what it is. It is unnecessary praise, right? To hear this guy who was already a sick individual, and the warning signs were there. That's the messed up part. The warning signs were there. You could go back a year. You could probably go back before that. This kid was already trouble. The signs were there. Was even kicked out of school at one point. All the signs were there when you trace it back. And sadly, all of those signs went blind eye. And this kid does what he does. Too many times we have seen tragedies like this that have come about where there is a significant loss of lives, and we have people that go, oh, thoughts and prayers. Oh, thoughts and prayers. Well, you know what? We need a little bit more than thoughts and prayers right now. Because all the thoughts and prayers that we've had so far over the years, yeah, that's great how we all keep coming together and, oh, we're united. That's great. That's what America does best. But you know something else that America does best when we all come together during events? We all really do a good job in coming together to help move the nation forward in advancement thinking, in advancement philosophy. And this issue alone has been something that's been lingering year after year after year. And it's ridiculous. What's the statistic that's out there right now as far as 2018 goes? This is like shooting number 18 or something like that, to that effect. I mean, I took down some notes of some very scary and interesting statistics, and I'm not really sure how many of you was even aware of this, but check this out. Most violent deaths occur before and after school. Nearly 50% of homicide suspects gave warning signals, like making a threat or leaving a note. Guns used in school associated homicides and suicides primarily came from the suspect's home. And that comes from the CDC. Now, check this out. Parkland school shooting. Type of weapon that was used? AR-15. Texas church shooting. Y'all remember that one? Y'all remember all these I'm about to mention. Gun that was used? AR-15. Las Vegas shooting? AR-15. Orlando nightclub shooting? AR-15. Sandy Hook shooting? AR-15. And people want to say, oh, no, it has nothing to do with guns. It has nothing to do with guns. I hate to say it, folks. It does, to a degree, have to do with guns. Now, if you want to put me in the hot seat, anybody that's been listening to this show for a long time knows that I'm not one to talk about gun control laws and all that other, but let's just say, for the sake of the argument, you and me, like we do every single week, we come together, and it's kind of like the way I try to do these shows. It's almost like we're kicking back, we're having a couple of drinks, and we're just shooting the hay. All right. It's like two friends just kicking back, catching up on some of the craziness we've seen this week. All right. That's how I try to talk to you guys. It's almost kind of like a one-on-one type of deal. If you pick my brain and you're like, Lee, so like, where do you stand? I am all down for anybody in North America that is mentally okay, right? They're mentally fine, no problems whatsoever. I am all fine for that person on American soil to have the right to bear arms. That is your God-given right when you are in North America. I'm totally down with that. Do I think there needs to be certain weapons, though, that you are allowed to have? Yes, I do. I honestly do. And I know that might ruffle some people's feathers. I know that. I sincerely know that. And I'm ready for any type of hate that's going to be coming my way. Trust me, I'm ready for it. Bring it as far as I'm concerned. But be respectful. Help me understand your point of view, and I'll try to help you understand my point of view. It's okay if we have a disagreement, but let's actually have an intellectual debate about this. But I am down for a person to have the right to bear arms. But you should not be able to obtain weapons like an AR-15. I'm sorry, no. If you are just a regular citizen, what in the blue hell are you doing with an AR-15? What are you doing with a silencer? What are you doing with a component to help make your gun a silencer? You shouldn't be having stuff like that. You just shouldn't. Now, I do believe that to a certain degree, the gun laws need to be changed. But at the same time, y'all that paid attention to your U.S. history, y'all remember how things had went down with regards to the prohibition back in the day? And it was like, hey, no alcohol, can't have it. You're going to get arrested, going to get in this type of trouble or whatever. And remember how it had went down? If you wanted booze, somehow you were able to get that booze. So the same rules apply. I also believe, and I'm being cold, hard, honest with a lot of you guys. I'm not beating around the bush on this. Even though I feel the way that I feel about our gun laws needing to change, I still feel that to a certain degree, if someone wants a gun, they want an AR-15, they want a silencer gun, they want the silencer component or what have you, they will be able to do what's needed to get what they need to get. Somehow they're going to be able to find some type of a loophole. Somehow they're going to be able to make a connection to another connection. They're going to be able to get what they want. No different than back in the day with the prohibition era. People wanted alcohol. They figured out ways to get that alcohol. It's going to go down no matter what. One thing that I have been noticing, which honestly, and I'm really surprised that no one in Congress, lawmakers, nobody, state representatives, city representatives, I'm surprised that no one is really talking about this more. When you look at all of these situations that has occurred with a weapon and the amount of lives that are being lost, you know what it says to me? And I need you to think from this standpoint and try to understand. You're talking to somebody that spent a total of almost 7 years working in security. And you would think that with 9/11, that would make public schools, private schools, hospitals, places of public access, that would make our airlines included. You would think that that would make security measures a lot tighter. And sadly, it hasn't. To my point, I talked about it on the show maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, and we had the woman that was making her rounds somehow being able to board airlines after getting past security, and she gets past the checkpoints. She's able to go XYZ. She gets caught afterwards, but it's after she's already boarded the plane and she's gotten to her destination. She's not going to see anybody in particular. She's just doing this crap just to be doing it. She's mentally not all there in the head, quite honestly. But there's just enough there to help her get past security, checkpoints, all this craziness. That says to me, somebody's messing up. Somebody messed up on the job. Somebody did not do their assignment properly. But when you string everything that I just mentioned, the one thing that seems to be constant in all of these incidents to a degree is poor security precautions. That's what it comes down to. Something like that, you would think after 9/11, you would think after Sandy Hook, like there would be better, strict security measures taken. We have tragedies that go down like this, and all of a sudden the argument is brought up, well, maybe teachers need to have guns, or maybe the principal needs to have a gun, or maybe all the doors in the classroom need to be shut. What can be, well, I'll tell you what can be done from a security standpoint. And look, I feel we may be a little bit divided on this one. But with regards to our schools, when I was going to school, and you ask anybody that was going to schools in the inner cities, right? You're part of a low income family household. You got to go to your neighborhood school that's pretty rough. Hey, we had metal detectors. We had police officers and or security guards that were armed. Some were walking around unarmed. We had plainclothes security guards, plainclothes police officers that were running around the school all day long, check our bags, all that. If they saw us walking around in the hallways at a time when, wait a minute now, class is already in session. Shoot, class one is already going. What's this person doing out here? Hey, you got a doctor's note or anything? Take you right to the principal's office, figure out what's going on, and that would be the end of it. That would be the end of it. I don't understand. And some people may be like, oh man, that's a little bit inhumane to be operating. No, it's not inhumane. It's called making sure that our schools and the children that are going to these schools are safe. That's what it's all about. So I feel, and if I'm the president, that is a great idea that you want to honor the military because you were inspired by what you had saw in another country. And it's estimated that you're probably going to be spending about $30 million on this US military parade. Hey, Mr. President, sir, all due respect, for the time being, scrap that. Instead, any free money that you're able to get a hold of, I think you need to invest that more into finding better security solutions for our schools nationwide in the US. That's where it really needs to count the most. And I tell you what, I would like to see from the next coming days. Here's my challenge to President Trump and his administration. We have President Trump, who, in some people's eyes, feel as though he is going on a one-man mission to overwrite every single thing that Obama and Obama's administration had put into law, almost kind of like rewriting history. Well, here's my challenge to Mr. Trump. When he does things right, folks, I give him praise. When he's doing things wrong, I'm on that behind. And you, the listeners, can back me up on it. That's been listening for a long time. My challenge to President Trump and his administration would be, okay, you want to rewrite history? Why don't you do something that Obama was not able to do in his administration? Because he got fought tooth and nail over better gun control laws, etc. Why don't you do something that every single predecessor before Obama? Why don't you do something before every single president before Obama was not able to do? And there's a nice challenge. Be that one president that finally, hey, look, we were able to get it done. We were finally able to get some good common laws passed. It's in his ball court. He's in a really good position to be doing it. And I tell you what, here's another thing I'd like to see. If there's one thing that President Trump is really good at, it's being a good showman, it's being a really good entertainer. And the amount of celebrities that Trump knows. You want to do something that's really cool? How about for Florida, you do something nice where you do some type of a telethon down in Florida where all the celebrities get together and all the money that is raised goes to the victims so they can try to make funeral arrangements, things of that nature. That would be a really nice, kind gesture. Hell, some people would say, Lee, President Trump has so much money just from his businesses alone, he could actually just cut a check into that. I say, yeah, you're absolutely right. However, just get it done, man. Get it freaking done. But until we really sit down, it goes beyond, okay, guns. It goes beyond one's mental health. You've also got to factor in security. I'll say this and we'll move it along. I told you guys on this show many weeks ago how I had rolled out from my second job that was actually in security. And I had noticed so many security flaws. And I'm not going to put the place out there, but at the place where I did do security at, it had made the headlines a couple of years ago because there were a couple of people that were shot and killed at this place. And when I began working at this place, it didn't really dawn on me, oh shit, this is the place where XYZ had went down. But luckily, then at the time, guy that was my boss, he told me about the incident and asked if I was aware. And I said, yeah, I kind of almost forgot about that. But yeah, I am aware of what had went down. And he says to me, yeah, so this is real talk, but blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And then when I began working there, I couldn't help but notice major security flaws that they had going on all across. All across. I'm talking interior, I'm talking exterior, serious problems. To the point, if I was ISIS or if I was a gunman, etc., and I wanted to do some serious harm. So many security flaws that I had saw, and other guards would bring up these security flaws like, hey, you guys need to look into this. But the management team were so freaking cheap. So freaking cheap. It wasn't even funny. And it's kind of like, okay, so what? Is it going to take another tragedy like what you guys had experienced in daylight before you all start tightening up and you really take security measures more seriously? Because if not, what is the whole point of you in even having security? It goes, and that's the real discussion that a lot of the employers need to have. That has the hospitals, that has the schools, place of public access. Just because you have a man and or a woman in a security uniform walking around, maybe they might have a nightstick, handcuffs, mace, a baton, what have you. Just because they have that does not mean that you are safe. If you have serious security issues, hey, this doesn't lock properly. Hey, this camera, it's not on point. It's not working. All of those, when you have everything working in unison, you build a stronger fortress. It's not necessarily about manpower. Because I know some people are going to look at what I'm saying. They're going to be like, well, if they try to increase the manpower. And sometimes, folks, you can get the type of help that you need, especially with regards to schools. Sometimes you can get the type of help that you need in volunteers. I know that's a lot of money for, okay, we need extra security at our schools to make sure that our kids are safe. Sometimes you can just get right down to it and just be like, volunteers. If you're able to pass a criminal background check, you're not a sexual predator, none of that silly crap, and you want to do something good for your community, that maybe some type of an arrangement is made and maybe you can get a little bit of money back when you get ready to do your taxes. However, I mean Republicans, they're in the driver's seat right now. So however it needs to be done, but there are ways that you can get the results that you need overall in enforcing better security measures, especially for the kids that are going to school. Something like this, like we shouldn't keep hearing about. So that's my challenge to the Trump administration, and not just the Trump administration. That is my challenge to people that are in Congress, in the Senate, lawmakers. That is my challenge to everybody. I don't give a damn if you're a Democrat. I don't give a damn if you're a Republican. I don't give a damn if you're independent, Tea Party. I don't care what the hell you are. That's my challenge. Yeah, to a degree, gun laws, but security measures. You got to look into better security measures for your hospitals, for your schools, for your places that provide public access. For sure, the schools. I got to stress that again. You got to. You just got to. Otherwise, this cycle is just going to keep happening. And it ain't going to mean a goddamn thing. It's just getting to the point right now where we're kind of getting numb, isn't it, folks? It's starting to get numb. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's move along. Let's talk about something a little bit more lighthearted. We're going to kind of do a hard transition away from that, try to talk a little bit about something a little bit more lighter. So we had some wrestling that came about this week. Not really too much kind of caught my eye, I must say. WWE RAW. Honestly, for me, what really was, hey, this is great. I love the Braun Strowman Elias segment. If you'd have told me 2 weeks ago that we were going to get something like that, I would have been like, you got to be joking. You got to be joking. Braun Strowman and Elias in a segment together that is going to be classic and it's going to be funny. Are you serious? And I don't know what it was, but I'm kind of under the impression that what Braun Strowman has been doing over with the mixed challenge with Alexa Bliss, I'm under the impression that because he's been showing a lot more personality, that's actually been making certain people in WWE, maybe even the writers, say, hey, this guy's got some serious personality. We need to try to capitalize on it. And I commend WWE for finally capitalizing is the right word I'm looking for. I commend them for capitalizing on that because, and see, it kind of goes back to what I was saying a couple of weeks ago. Oh, whoa. Beer kind of exploded there. Wait a minute, guys. This would happen live on the air. Hang on, guys. I don't know why that happened. Maybe I need to drink a little bit more. This edition is brought to you by Dogfish Head 90-minute IPA. Good suds, man. That's good stuff. So it's kind of like what I said a couple of weeks ago. We saw Talking Smack. You guys remember Talking Smack? I was a big advocate for Talking Smack because it gave a lot of the superstars an opportunity to let their personality shine a little bit. It gave them an opportunity to try to see what was sticking and what wasn't and try to build off of the positives. And for me, it was, are you serious? And it's just not the same. Yeah, you can bring it back once a month or some other silly crap like that, but it's just not the same, especially when you don't have Daniel Bryan that's really there to help drive that talent along. Because when you have Daniel Bryan and or Renee Young, they just really together do a good job in making the segment go the way that it needs to go. And so now you take that avenue, you take that away, and it's kind of like, okay, well, now what? And now we have mixed challenge. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying to Mish and Joey last week. Like the show has potential. The show definitely has potential. My issue was with regards to the viewership, seeing the steady decline. Can it really command coming back? And honestly, I hope that the series is able to come back after this 10-week run that they're doing. And whether it's exclusive to the network or they're going to do more Facebook episodes. Who knows? I really do hope that in general it does come back because a lot of good has come from Mixed Challenge. We have seen Mandy Rose go from being just who's the blonde that's teaming up with what's her name? Paige, that's teaming up with Paige, Absolution. We've gone from who's that blonde? Oh my god, she's pretty, she's hot. We've gone from that to wow, look at what this girl's doing with Gold Dust. I mean, a freaking personality. She just syncs so well with Gold Dust. It's not even funny. I mean, I'm going back, I'm having flashbacks of Dustin Reynolds with Terry Runnels. I'm having flashbacks like that. I'm going, damn, this girl's got this down. She's got personality. She's all of a sudden she now has like this charisma. She's more than just a pretty face now. You see what's going on with Rusev and Lana. I mean, they're gelling really well. Lana letting a lot of that personality come out. We're seeing Naomi. Naomi's been teaming up with her man. We're seeing Naomi really kind of let loose a bit more. She's always had a bit of a personality, but you know how it is when you have a real life couple and you put them in a position where, okay, you guys just play off each other. Just play to the cameras, just kind of pretend we don't exist, just be yourselves, and they're able to be themselves. That's how it comes off to me, Mixed Challenge. It really comes off to me like the wrestlers that we see on Raw and SmackDown are given just a small window of an opportunity to let their personality shine a bit, and I'm loving it. So to see what we saw with Braun Strowman, who's honestly been excelling on Mixed Match, with his personality coming out more and more, I love it. It shows another dimension to Braun Strowman, and the timing of this is impeccable. I personally feel because it kind of, you can almost make the argument that Braun was starting to get a little bit stale because you say, hey, and this guy's got a great look. He's coming along. He's having decent matches, but he's already locked it up with Brock a few times. He's been locking it up with Kane. And just when it kind of came off as if maybe he was going to become a champion, no, the opportunity doesn't come. So, like, if it's not going to come now, then, like, what should keep me invested into this guy? Just when I think the trigger is going to be pulled, the trigger doesn't get pulled. So what's next? And now you see this new layer that's peeling off for Braun that makes you go, wow, I didn't know this guy was even capable of, because you could even go as far back to when he was a Rosebud and you're kind of going, who the hell is, get him off my TV? That's obviously how a lot of us were doing it back then. But I'm loving the evolution of Braun. Elias, I got nothing but praise for Elias. I was one of the first that saw Elias dubbed as the Drifter in NXT, and I was firm. A lot of people were like, you like him? Oh yeah, he's got a nice little throwback to him. I like it. He's got a little bit of Jeff Jarrett. How did I describe him? I think the way I described him back then, before he came up the main roster, and then I was saying it even more after he came up the roster, I said he's got Jeff Jarrett. And it's funny we're talking about Jeff Jarrett, by the way. We got to talk about him in a little bit. But he's got a combination of Jeff Jarrett meets Macho Man Randy Savage meets Seth Rollins meets Ryan Howe. And for those that's kind of like, Ryan Howe, like, what the hell? I'm talking about Skid Mark from Tough Enough. You see how that guy looks now. You're like, wow, this guy was on Tough Enough. He looked like this. And you see how he looks now. Guy is killing it on the independents. He is killing it, and he's got a really cool entrance himself. He's coming out playing electric guitar. He plays that bad boy very well. I'm like, damn, why hasn't this guy come around to the WWE yet? But that's a different topic for another time. But when I look at Elias, he's got all of those elements. Great look, decent wrestler, coming along very well. I dare say future's looking really good for that young man. Future world champion, yeah, I could definitely see it. under the right circumstances. I could definitely see it. But that was a great little interaction segment that they had. I I said to myself when Braun came out with that big old bass violin or whatever, bass guitar, I'm saying, man, if he hits him with the, and sure enough, a few minutes later, he did hit Elias with that. I love that. That seemed like some Tom and Jerry crap, quite honestly. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. I loved it. I'm trying to think if anything else noteworthy had came about from Monday's Raw, because it honestly kind of felt like a little bit of a snoozer fest of an episode. I actually am gonna have to go back and look at the notes. I know there was a couple of matches that I thought were fairly good. Let me just pull this up real quick, guys. Bear with me a second here. And let's see, because I mean, other than that, I do remember when Raw had first came on, I kind of was, yeah, I was snoozing. John Cena kicking off the show. That was a snoozer moment for me. I was into it once the Miz had came out, though. It was a good back and forth between Cena and Miz, but just Cena out there by himself for those first several minutes, buzzkill, serious buzzkill. They had a fantastic match, by the way. Another great encounter between Cena and the Miz. Loved it. John Cena defeating the Miz. Wasn't there a stipulation for that match as well? I could have sworn maybe there was a stipulation for that one. Maybe loser has to come out first for the Elimination Chamber. So I kind of want to say Miz. If my memory is right, I want to say since Miz lost to John Cena, he's gonna have to come out the cage first at the Elimination Chamber event. Another thing that kind of jumped out at me was seeing Kurt Angle make the announcement that Ronda Rousey will be appearing at the Elimination Chamber to officially sign her WWE Raw contract, and that had got a ton of boos from the crowd. So you can't help but kind of wonder why exactly were folks booing? Were they booing because Ronda Rousey wasn't going to grace them with her appearance at that particular arena? Was that maybe what the fans were kind of crapping on? Or were they crapping on the fact that, oh man, we've got this girl now coming into our world? Or is it maybe a combination of both? And I know a lot of people want to do psychoanalysis on that. Look, for me personally, usually when we see a crowd act the way that crowd had acted towards Ronda Rousey showing up at Elimination Chamber, you could maybe look at it as, okay, they wanted Ronda, and Ronda instead is going to be showing up at the Elimination Chamber. Would I entertain the idea that maybe there is a core base of fans that don't particularly care for Ronda Rousey coming into the WWE? Yes, because you have those fans that are wrestling fans, and you have those fans that are MMA fans that are looking at Ronda coming into the WWE, and you gotta really stop and think about it. Those that are feeling a little bit negative towards a Ronda in the WWE, if you ask them what their biggest pet peeve is, they probably will say to you one or two things. One, well, honestly, I really didn't like the way that Ronda had just quit her MMA career. It seemed like after she had suffered the two defeats that she suffered, it seemed like she became humbled, but not in such a way. She decided to dust herself off, start back from basics, maybe get herself aligned with a new team, get a new training facility location, and maybe kind of go from there. Some people are a little bit like, I wish she would have tried to go at it a little bit more, right? But then you have others that are kind of looking at this and they're saying to themselves, well, this kind of sucks altogether, because why do we have this person, this outsider that, and I think that's sad that you have people in the latter that are like, well, look at this person. Like, for me personally, I think it sucks that the way she left MMA, it's kind of like tail tucked between your legs, and now that your tail's tucked between your legs, okay, you're running off from there. I do feel that diminished her value just a little bit, but that still does not take everything that she was able to accomplish in the MMA world, that she was able to accomplish in the UFC. So she is still a marquee name. She still brings value to the table. And I still feel that this is a great acquisition by the WWE. I just hope that with the months of preparation that she's been doing for an in-ring career in the world of pro wrestling, that she really excels. But only time will tell. I tell you this much. One of the things that I'm not liking right now, this is something that was talked about last week, which is this report that's going around that WWE plans on using Stephanie McMahon in a position where her stock, her name, her portfolio, all that will excel in working with Ronda Rousey. So you kind of got to go with that period where you had Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Mike Tyson, and then you also got to think about Vince McMahon, the Steve Austin rivalry. Rumor on the Veil is that WWE is trying to figure out ways to help elevate the 41-year-old Stephanie McMahon into a new limelight, into a new position of celebrity status. They are trying to get her that worldwide household name, kind of like her dad in the wrestling world. And you want to have her rub elbows with Ronda Rousey. So basically, you're trying to do a female Vince McMahon, female Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stephanie McMahon has always been a great TV character. I will definitely give her that. And I know some people are going to listen to this and they're going to snicker when they hear that, but no, stop and think for a minute. How many times have you honestly over the years said to yourself, Stephanie McMahon, why is this girl on my TV? Oh my God, I can't stand her freaking guts. And then you have some people, they like a little bit of a good piece of eye candy. Quite honestly, some people legitimately will look at Stephanie and say, hey, all right, I like what I'm seeing right here. All right, cool. But I don't know, guys. I really don't know. I mean, if you ask me for first impressions off the break, 41-year-old Stephanie McMahon. Okay, so what's the end game? Does this mean that Stephanie McMahon is going to be getting in the ring a lot more as a result of Ronda being in the WWE? Not to mention, how are you going to go about with the booking of Ronda Rousey and Stephanie? I don't care if it's one-on-one or it's in a tag match. How are you going to end the match in such a way where both parties come out still looking relatively strong? Because for everything that Ronda was able to accomplish in the MMA world, to see Ronda be in a position where she just loses flat out. I mean, I think it's safe to say, and I would be shocked if WWE goes the route, but nobody would legitimately buy Stephanie McMahon beating Ronda Rousey one-on-one. I mean, that's like a freaking foregone conclusion. So what? Are you going to do a situation where it's a numbers game? Are you going to do a situation where it's a tag match? And I don't quite understand that. I just don't. Most importantly, what I think needs to also be tackled, we have a case of storyline stupidity, because stupid booking 101. Yes, it's hey, it seems like it's weekly. If it comes to mind, I'm there. So stupid booking 101. The last time we saw Ronda Rousey with the WWE, she did a good number on Stephanie. So you fast forward and you go to the end of the Royal Rumble, and we've got Ronda Rousey shaking the hand of Stephanie McMahon, almost kind of like hey, whatever went down between you and me in the past, like that's over. It's over and done with. It's history. Some things need to be addressed, and I'm hoping that with regards to the elimination chamber, those do get addressed because and I see a great comment in the chat by Razor, which is Stephanie McMahon's character has been too bipolar. And I agree with that 100%. It goes back to what I was just saying. We see Stephanie McMahon shake Ronda Rousey's hand, and she said, "Oh, I didn't know anything about this. I don't know what's going on." You should be having friction. You should be having tension. You should be like, why the hell is this person here in the company that my dad built? Why is she coming out to this music? Why is she interrupting a glorious moment right here with regards to the evolution of our women's division? What the hell? I don't understand. Less than 24 hours later, you really should have had Stephanie McMahon out in the middle of the ring demanding answers. And then you pretty much kind of like go from there. So to go from Royal Rumble, less than 24 hours later, you go to Raw, and then you let about what 2 weeks go by, and you hear, "Oh, Ronda Rousey is going to be signing her WWE contract." Now, just the way that everything was handled, I really wish they would have kept the whole contract signing thing a little bit more under wraps. One could make the argument, well, Lee, they kind of did this because they're trying to really do a better job in selling the pay-per-views remaining leading up to WrestleMania, yada, 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 yada. And I kind of say, yeah, you can give me that, but I like me a really good storyline that makes a lot of sense because the less gaps you have to plug, the better. So this is a lot of cleaning up that they have to do come Elimination Chamber. And I'm going to wait until it's time to offer predictions and booking ideas before I talk about Elimination Chamber and how they could possibly clean all that up. But you tell me, you ask me straight up, Lee, do you like the idea of a Stephanie McMahon Ronda Rousey matchup? I would say no, 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 hell no. I don't like it. Stephanie McMahon needing to increase her portfolio. What? Pass a WWE career? What? Is she maybe gonna go in the path of her mother? Is she maybe gonna one day get into politics? Like what? What is the end game? Seriously, what is the end game? How does Stephanie truly benefit? What is this all about? Self-indulgence? Is that the name of the game? Self-indulgence? Is this about increasing one's self-stock? Is that what this is about? I thought this was about trying to establish stars. I thought this was all about trying to establish people that you feel could be taking your company into the future for years to come. And you being part of upper management, you're kicking back and you're reaping in the rewards. I thought maybe we're kind of going in that direction. So you asked me off the break, I'm not liking the idea. I'm just being honest with you all. Another big announcement that we had saw that came from WWE programming this week. Ivory, one of the original women from the Glow promotion, Ivory, is going to be taking her rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame. I loved me some Ivory, and I think it's kind of funny that off and on over the years, I've talked about her. I think I recently had talked about her last week before they had made the announcement. So I'm very ecstatic. As a matter of fact, yeah. Now that I really think about it, I remember saying on, I think it was it 2, maybe 3 weeks ago that Raw did Raw 25. I remember saying on the show that week, where was Ivory? How do you do Raw 25 and you don't have Ivory? Does this kind of maybe explain a few things? It's possible, but I tell you what, until somebody is able to score an interview with Ivory and say, okay, so what went down with Raw 25? Were you even invited? Was the idea even talked about? Like, how long did you know you were going to be announced for the WWE Hall of Fame, whatnot? But I've always had a crush on Ivory. Always have. She has always came off to me as smart, sassy, stunningly beautiful, strong, very strong, and the girl could get down in the ring. Whether you needed her to put on a 3.5 star out of 5 type of matchup, or you need her to go in there, do maybe bra and panties or whatever, she could do it all. She was that universal. And to see the 56-year-old getting that nod, being able to take her rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame, long time, well deserved for me, well deserved. Just everything that she's been able to do in her pro wrestling career. I mean, come on, man. Right to censor alone. And you couldn't get a better girl. I'm a woman. Let me say, woman. I'm just thinking about all the women in the attitude era back then. If there was like any other woman that could have like sold that perfectly, and no, I mean, she freaking sold that. You couldn't think of anybody else with just her blank, with her blank, stern teacher type of look, teacher type of persona that she brought to right to censor. You couldn't make that up. That was the perfect gimmick for her, quite honestly. And then, of course, the brief appearances that she made on the independent circuit. Oh my God, she's just been all over the place, man. You know, really just doing her thing. Wrestled for the Women's Superstar Uncensored promotion. It's a little bit all over the place, man. She's always been a Renaissance woman. Honestly, superstars girl, powerful women of wrestling. We already mentioned Glow, Carolina Championship Wrestling. She's just been all over the place. She went into the WSU Hall of Fame in 2011. It's been a long time coming. It really put a big smile on my face. At the same time, I'm holding out hope that the late Luna will get that nod. She'll go into the WWE Hall of Fame. I would love to see Victoria go in as well. I would also love to see the ninth wonder of the world, China. Who else? There's somebody else. Somebody had said to me, well, what about Jazz? Shouldn't Jazz go into the WWE Hall of Fame? You could maybe make a legitimate argument for Jazz, but see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Sadly, because of this lawsuit that she has going on against the WWE right now, that ain't happening. So maybe if she drops the lawsuit, kind of gets back on the good graces of the WWE, maybe, just maybe, but I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But yeah, seeing Ivory go in, I'm holding out for hope, man. I really am. I'm hoping that one day we'll see those girls go into the WWE Hall of Fame as well. And another thing that was really awesome, I don't know how many of you guys are actually aware of this. I really shouldn't be broadcasting it because I'm not really sure if it's legit, but I'm kind of under the impression that she has been verified, at least not by Twitter, but the multiple people that have been interacting with her. She actually is now on Twitter. She, for the longest time, had Facebook, but she didn't have Twitter and Instagram and all that. And now, apparently, she is on Twitter. So, for those of you that maybe want to give her a follow, you can do so. She is on, let me pull up her Twitter joint, because she actually had tweeted me right when I had commented on her future induction. Let me see if I can pull her up here. Bear with me a second here, guys. And I agree with what Hot Rod had said on the announcement. He said she was a very underrated female performer and well deserving of the Hall of Fame. See if I can find her tweet here. Hopefully they didn't. Hang on. See, now I'm not seeing it. Well, I tell you what, let me do it like this. I can easily just go back and look at the last few people that I have followed, because I really don't follow that many people. So let me pull her up that way. There she is. So for those of you that are interested in following her on Twitter, you can do so by following her at Moretti Ivory. I'll spell that for you. It's MORETTIIVRY. VORY. That's how you're able to find her. And I already tweeted her. I told her, I said, hey, you might want to consider putting up some type of a video of yourself promoting your Twitter handle just to let folks know that it really is you. Because all the people that she's following right now are WWE related, things of that nature, like actual talent. And she's doing pretty good as far as followers go. So the fact that Steve Austin even tweeted at her, I'm kind of getting that impression that it really is her, but you can't really be too sure because we've seen stuff like this happen in the past and it turns out it's not really them. So hopefully pretty soon she'll actually jump out there, put something like there's a video right now where she's showing her pets and you can hear her talk about how she's going into the Hall of Fame, but you don't know if maybe you don't know if maybe somebody else had took that clip from another platform and are putting it on the Twitter account, trying to pretend that they are her. So hopefully she'll take that advice and she'll jazz herself up, do some type of a video, plug in her Twitter account. That's really the way you got to do it these days anyway. But I look forward to seeing her Hall of Fame speech. I think it's going to be phenomenal. Who's gonna break her in though? Who's gonna get her warmed up for the crowd? That's what I'm thinking. Is it maybe gonna be God? Is it maybe gonna be Jacqueline? Is Miss Jacqueline maybe gonna do the honors? Or is it maybe gonna be I don't know. Could you maybe do Terry Runnels? Could Terry Runnels maybe break her in? Like, that's something to really think about. Seriously, that's really something to think about. I want to take this time out. Thank those of you that's checking out this edition of the RCWR show, streaming at you live on multiple platforms right now. I really hope you guys have been appreciating. Yeah, I believe we're probably up to maybe week 6 or 7 that we've been doing this experiment to see how you all are engaging with the show, also being a live webcast that you can see on YouTube and you can see on Facebook. So I really hope you guys have been appreciating what we've been doing for you all. Remember, the communication, it's key. You like what's going on, you don't want it to stop, you got to be vocal, because I pretty much had said we were only going to be doing this for about 10 weeks with regards to the whole simulcasting web stream. And basically, I was going to be paying attention to the numbers to see if it could even warrant continuing on. And it's been staying steady. I will definitely admit that. So you haven't done so already, make sure you click on the like. If you're listening via Spreaker, click on the heart icon, the like icon. That's key. Really helps. Those of you accessing it on Facebook, give those thumbs up, smiley faces, definitely comment. All that really helps out. One thing I want to talk about while we're talking about the likes and the interactions, all that good stuff. So I was taking a look literally this past weekend. I was taking a look at some of the latest reviews for iTunes, and I had saw that someone by the name of Riddler had left a negative review. So this message goes out to Riddler. I'm not really sure if this guy even still checks out the show or what. So, and you guys will actually kind of get a chuckle out of this. And I'm not saying this story to make fun of Riddler, but Riddler had left a 1-star review. He gives me praise, talks about how much of a great host I am, talks about how much he enjoys the show, but he mentions that apparently he had got blocked by me and he's not sure why he had got blocked, and that he hopes that the blocking will be taken off because he loved the interactions. So I'm kind of going, so wait a minute now. And I'm not being condescending whatsoever, but just stop and just think what I literally just told you guys. It's like, wait a minute. So he leaves a 1-star review. So he doesn't have a problem with your show. Apparently you blocked him, and apparently that was the case. Now, normally I have 2 rules. If I block you, first, it depends where I block you. It's very seldom I block somebody. The only time I will block somebody is if they say something extremely crude that I deem is offensive. They're being just downright stupid, disrespectful, either to me or to you in the chat that's commenting. That's usually the only way I will block somebody. Now, there are times where I will accidentally block people, but this is the thing that just kind of like, okay, so where were you blocked specifically? Were you blocked on Twitter? Were you blocked from the Spreaker chat? Were you blocked on YouTube? Were you blocked across all of those platforms? And then it's not like I'm that hard to get a hold of. All you got to do is just send me an email and say, hey, Lee, I usually interact with you at the handle blah, blah, blah. And I saw this hat went down. Like, can you look into this? Was this maybe an error? I do something I'm not really aware of. And longtime listeners will tell you that I'm usually pretty good at emailing folks back. So, and the email address is not like it's that hard to find. All you got to do is just know where to look, hint, hint, and you can easily comment. So I just thought that was funny, but I want to just kind of give you guys a little bit of a friendly reminder that with regards to leaving ratings and reviews for the shows, it is not a vehicle to take out frustration over the fact that you were blocked by me, or maybe I said something you didn't like. That's not what it's for. And I've actually been in contact with iTunes, and I tell you, if you leave stuff like that, that honestly does not help the listeners out, then it's like that review will be taken down. That rating and review will be taken down. So just a little FYI for you folks. So Riddler, hopefully now that I've put you on blast, this will make you send me a message. I kind of remember Riddler, but I kind of don't. And that's the sad part. So yeah. Anyway, let's continue with the show on that note. Let's see what other topics can we get into on this week's episode. So, Corey Graves, Booker T. I hate to say I told you so, and I know we've got some people that want to be like, I was the only one that said, but no. Look, I told you guys. Don't believe me? Go back, check out the show from last week. You can even check it out on Epic Sports. And shout out to my good friend at Epic Sports. Shout out to the Epic Sports community as well. Love the guys over there. Great comments. I gave you guys some real talk. And I was just amazed at how the Jim Cornettes, the Dave Meltzers, and everybody else were just yum, 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 just eating this up. Just breaking it down, going all Dr. Phil, all that crap. And I'm not gonna say I was the only one, because I really wasn't. You look online, there was a small handful of us radio personalities, podcasters that were going, just a small handful of us that were saying, no, this is a work. Because if this was legit, this is what you can expect. And what did I say? I was one of the original guys that commented on this fresh after it went down. I said, look, this is what you can expect. If this is legit, expect to hear from respectable wrestling outlets like a Dave Meltzer, maybe even Pro Wrestling Sheets, that Booker T, Corey Graves, they were in a meeting with management to squash everything, and or look for a situation where Booker T gets suspended or Booker T gets let go by the WWE. Because when you're threatening somebody like that, that has serious ramifications. And the way I approached it to you guys, I basically was like, real talk. This is real talk. This is how it goes down in the real world. And everybody was just eating this up. Now, maybe some people were under the impression, this feels like a work, but this makes great clickbait. And I'm just not wanting to go in that direction. I'm just not. I'm not going to go in that direction. I'm going to always tell it how I think it is. And I think it's rather disgusting. I think it's rather degrading that we have some individuals, they'll try to manufacture something, they'll try to exaggerate something just so they can do successful clickbaiting and get you to whatever. But I gave you guys some straight up real in-depth analysis on this. So we've got Booker T, we've got Corey Graves. Corey was on Booker's podcast over the weekend, and they pretty much had cleared the air. And Booker had recounted how there was like 12 minutes on their last show. They weren't quite sure how to wrap up the show. And Booker had said to his co-host, okay, look, I'm just going to go with something. You just follow my lead. And one of the first things that Booker says, hey, I know what I'm getting ready to lay down is going to have a lot of dirt sheets talking. It's going to have the Meltzers and all them. They're going to be on this. So when you kind of look back on it, you're going, and it went exactly how I said it was going to go down, which is Booker T did what he did to bring attention to himself and his brand. It was a great marketing strategy, quite honestly. You want to get people talking about you. You want to get more eyes on your product. That's a great way to do it. And he also had put the attention on Corey Graves as well and the WWE, because it's kind of like, okay, so we see what Booker said. What's Corey Graves going to say? How's he going to counter? Oh, man, you see what Corey, oh, man, so what's Booker going to say? And you're kind of going back and forth like that. And they got everybody. They got a majority of the people in the wrestling community. They did. But isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that one of the most interesting things that has come about from the WWE in recent months, some would dare even say a couple of years, it isn't the whole, oh, well, this person came in or this person debuted. No, what got people talking was two guys that haven't wrestled in the WWE for a good minute now that were able to work the entire wrestling industry over fake beef. That says a lot. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying off and on the past couple of years, which is the suspension of disbelief, fact or fiction, really blurring the lines there. I miss good writing like that. Is this real? Is this beef legit? Is this? I miss those days. And to see Booker and Corey already knew what time it was. He's like, okay, Booker's just going in for himself. He's working for himself. Okay, I'll play along. Corey being the good sport that he is, I tell you, the WWE writers need to take a page out of these guys' books and be like, damn, well, if they're able to get this type of buzz going, maybe we kind of need to engage. But no, the way that WWE is now trying to counter it to try to make it seem more realistic is to present, oh, well, these superstars, they're on Facebook, they're on Twitch, they're on Twitter, they're on Periscope doing these quick little 30-second videos and trying to make it more realistic. And then you got the Adam West graphics, wham, bam, pow, nerds, all that silly crap. I could do without all that. Quite honestly, I could do without all that. But they got a good one. They got a good one over a lot of the folks. I was only among a handful of shows that said, no, not buying it. It's not legit. Go check it out, man. It's on Epic Sports. Go check it out. I tried to tell you guys, but you know, everybody wants to go in a different direction. Hey, probably shouldn't surprise you guys, but it looks like Rich Swann and the WWE, they have parted ways. As you all know, Rich Swann had that situation that came about with his wife right before the holidays last year, and he was put on a indefinite suspension pending the results of whatever was going on with his case. Kind of came off as if there was a domestic dispute between him and his wife. Things got a little bit physical. He didn't slap her up or anything like that, but the fact that it showed up in that type of negative limelight, WWE, all right, we got to put the foot down, and then we kind of got to distance ourselves. So it seemed like just a couple of weeks after all that had went down with Rich Swann, he was able to get things squashed. His wife was, okay, all right, let me drop the charges, whatever, and people can be like, oh, she is a victim in the now. I'm not really going to go all into that. I'm just not. But after all that was put behind him, one would be under the impression, okay, now that that's squashed, any day now, he should be showing up in the WWE. Well, that didn't happen. And sadly, what we ended up getting was a case of, all right, we got all these things happening in 205, but what's the deal with Rich Swann when it's Rich Swann coming back? And Rich Swann never came to be. So Rich Swann, WWE, mutually, they parted ways. And Rich Swann does have his first post WWE event that he's going to be doing. I actually don't have the name of the promotion in front of me right now. I'll share that with you guys next week because if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's going to happen, if not later on this month, it's going to be happening early March. So I'll share that date with you guys for sure on social media. I'll share it with you guys. As a matter of fact, actually, kind of looking at my show notes just one more time here. Actually, I do have it. Yeah, I do have it. Yeah, so all the charges, just to reiterate, all the charges against Rich Swann, they were dropped in late January after prosecutors, they pretty much had determined that there honestly was not sufficient evidence to even go forward with the case. So Rich Swann, I'm just looking here if he's showing up because I saw the event. Yeah, I don't see the promotion he's going to be working for, sadly, but he like automatically, like as soon as the announcement was made, he pretty much had got hooked up with his first post WWE event. So Shelton Benjamin, I couldn't believe the story had came about. Shelton Benjamin, he talked with TMZ since this all had went down, but apparently Shelton Benjamin, he blasted the hell out of budget car rentals on Twitter, talking about how he had been driving around in the same vehicle for days. And it turned out there was a loaded gun. Yes, a loaded gun in the vehicle with him. And it just freaked him the hell out. And I mean, can you just imagine that? Like you're renting a vehicle to get around, go place to place or whatever. And there's a gun. That is just, as soon as I heard this story, first thing that's just clicked in my head is that old Aerosmith song. But instead of Jamie, I'm just going, Shelton's got a gun. Shelton's got a gun. And Haas is nowhere to be found. Charlie Haas, I'm talking about, of course, his old tag team partner. But I'm just going, are you fucking serious? And Shelton, kudos to him. He could have easily just taken that gun. He could have put it in a trash can. He could have done some. He could have just ignored it. He could have left that gun where it was. But hey, that's a double-edged sword. You leave that gun where it is. You pretend it don't exist. The next person that rents that vehicle, they may come across the gun and do the right thing. Try to get that gun turned in, and then next thing you know, maybe the authorities or whatnot. Well, let's look at who had the car last before this person. Maybe they would have eventually came around to Shelton Benjamin. So for Shelton to just say, okay, you know what, man, I'm not liking this. I'm not feeling this. And he pretty much got in contact with local authorities. I commend him. I commend him for doing that. I mean, honestly, what person wouldn't do that? I mean, if you've never been in trouble with the law before in your entire life, you're a good model citizen, you vote in every single election, why should you have fear of committing, hey, look what I found? One less gun off the streets when it's all said and done that could potentially fall into the wrong hands. I should really stress that. So I just thought that was a wild, hilarious story when I had heard that initially. And I would imagine that after that experience, and he had a good, strong message for Shelton Benjamin towards rental or budget rental. He pretty much had said, check your vehicles when you get them back, check them thoroughly. He shouldn't have to say that. He really should not have to say that. But obviously, there was a lot of half-assing that was going on when you really stop and think about it. That's just crazy when you hear that. It's almost no different than, because that's the new trend now. If you're not renting vehicles from budget, what's the other one that's running around right now? Not Uber. Is it Zipcar there's something that's running around where you can have a car delivered to you and you pretty much hop in that bad boy, you get the mileage, all that. And I think the way that it's set up is they put the key to the car in like this lock box that has like this unique code or whatever. I don't know if it operates with your social or what, but basically when you approach the box, like let's say you've got let's say you're in the DMV. All right, let's give it to you like this. Let's say you're in the DMV. I've seen it before. So you're in the DMV and you get off at, I'll just say, Union Station on the red line. And once you get off at Union Station, you pretty much go to the side where the vehicles are or whatever, and you'll see the rental car. Like they tell you the make, the model, the tag, and there will be a box. And in the box is the key to that car. Well, the only way you're going to be able to open that box, I believe you either have to have a social phone number is how you unlock it, something like that. And pretty much after that, you put that key in the ignition, and somehow everything is communicated back to base that, okay, so and so has that vehicle, they're in, and you pretty much are able to do whatever you got to do. You've already paid the flat out rate. I wish I knew the name of the company off the break that's operating that way, but that should kind of sound a little bit familiar to some of you guys. But you don't think they are checking their vehicles? Taxi cab drivers check their vehicles. So for budget to kind of slack like that, I just thought that was hilarious as hell, man. Just hilarious. Let's see, what other stuff can we talk about here on the show? Oh, what else we got? Yeah, how about that? So we've got rumblings that Jeff Jarrett is possibly going to be going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, it's been a couple of years, but there may be a lot of you guys that remember the interview that myself and my good buddy Titus Machiavelli gave. Great conversation we had with Jeff Jarrett. You can check that out on demand, on the downloads. It's on YouTube. It's definitely the audio. It's available for downloads as well. Just check the old RCWR Show archives. And one of the questions that was asked to Jeff Jarrett was, hey, the opportunity of WWE, because if I'm not mistaken, I think it was a two-parter. I'm pretty sure we talked about him going back to the WWE, and I'm pretty sure there was also talk about WWE Hall of Fame. And I remember Jeff Jarrett just pretty much shooting it down, saying he's not into hypotheticals, he's not into ideas that really are not obtainable, that's not realistic. And he just was like, you could kind of tell he really was not interested in talking anything WWE related. Now, what's changed? Well, the man did go into a WWE sponsored rehab facility for a couple of weeks. And I know since then, he's pretty much just been taking it easy, trying to take care of himself, get back to basics. Nothing wrong with that. But when you think about the way that Jeff Jarrett had left the WWE, man, and you're kind of going, so wait, Jeff Jarrett, JEFFJARRETT, Jeff Jarrett is possibly going to be going into the WWE Hall of Fame? Like, say what? First off, is Jeff Jarrett worthy of going into the WWE Hall of Fame? It depends on what exactly you're recognizing with Jeff Jarrett. Are you recognizing his tenure in the WWE, and are you also recognizing his tenure in WCW? Are you also recognizing his tenure as one of the founders of TNA? Like, how ballsy is WWE going to get? Are they even going to acknowledge what he did in TNA? part of me screams, no, he's not going to go in that direction. Well, WWE, that is, they're not going to go in that direction. Now, he may be able to give a little bit of a nod in his speech, but you're just really stopping and you're thinking about it. Only his work in WCW, only his work in the old territory days, only his work in the WWF would be acknowledged. But when you just add it all up, is it really Hall of Fame worthy? Man, that's a tough call for me. That really is. That really is. And I've been wrapping my brain around this idea for a couple of days now, ever since the rumblings have first came out. And I'm just being honest with you guys. As it stands here tonight that I'm doing the show for you guys, I still do not know. I still don't know, sadly. I would need more time to think about it. But if you ask me right now, see, this is how I am. This is how I am. I'll be for real with you guys. When it comes to any type of Hall of Fame, it can come to, if we're talking basketball, if we're talking football, you mention the name, and I can tell you whether or not, yes, Hall of Fame. I can look at a guy, Tom Brady, Hall of Fame. I could look at Terrell Owens, despite all the controversies. I can just be like, Terrell Owens, Hall of Fame. Kirk Cousins. If I have to think, if I have to hesitate, you're not going in the Hall of Fame. As far as my Hall of Fame, if I have to think more than a second, for me, that's doubt. It's like, no, you're not going in. So right now, as it stands, and I'd really have to reminisce about his body of work, just overall. And I'd really would have to think about it. But as it stands right now, minus TNA. That's the sad part. Because we kind of have this idea how WWE is probably going to be operating. They're going to recognize his time in the WWF. They're going to recognize what he did in WCW. Okay, so if I'm just looking at all of that, or is it WWE Hall of Fame worthy? Now, I'm not screaming no, but the fact that I'm hesitating and I'm kind of going, as it stands, I have to say no. Now, I will give it until next week's show. My answer may change. I'd have to really reminisce a little bit more, but that's the direction that I'm leading in. I would love to hear what you guys think about Jeff Jarrett possibly going into the WWE Hall of Fame. I see a good comment in the chat here. Let me look here. Even Russo and Disco Inferno thought it was real. Oh yeah, you're talking about what went down earlier with Booker T and Corey Graves Razor. Yeah, the Jeff Jarrett history is grand in American professional wrestling. His history wasn't greatly televised. I don't know, man. Seriously, before WWE, I definitely remember the Jarretts, both Jarretts. I mean, no doubt the Jarretts, they've done a lot for the business. Has Jeff Jarrett done a lot? See, that's the thing. That's what's making me so confused right now as it stands tonight, because part of me is like really saying, what are we really going to recognize if Jeff Jarrett were to go into the WWE Hall of Fame? What are we really going to recognize of Jarrett? Are we going to recognize what him and his dad did in the old, territory days? Or are we going to recognize, are we going to really recognize that? Are we really going to recognize what he did in WCW? Are we really going to even recognize his tenure in TNA? And that's where I'm really kind of confused right now. I mean, when you go back and you look at his tenure, in particular in the WWF or WWE, you go back to, let me see. Well, first off, go back before he went to the WWE. Go back to the AWA days, go back to USWA, go back to World Class Championship Wrestling, go back to the CWA. I mean, I'm talking about you got to go back to what he was doing in the mid 80s, going up into the early 90s before he came to the WWF. And he definitely was making a name for himself on the free agency market before he came to the WWF. Now, you go to the WWF, you pretty much go from 92 right on up until 96. I mean, for me, when I look at that period in the WWE, I'm thinking JARRETT, Jeff Jarrett. I still remember the vignettes and everything. The strut, the guitar smashing, all that. I remember all of that. Great moments there. WCW. Uh, mm, I mean, NWO 2000. That was okay. He had a run as the world heavyweight champion. That was another good run. TNA. I keep going back to TNA. Planet Jarrett. See, that's what's so confusing right now. Like, if you were to tell me, Lee, everything, even TNA, everything is going to be recognized. What him and his dad did for the business, everything's going to be recognized. I wish this was a package deal. If you were to tell me that both Jarretts would go in, that seems a little bit more pleasing to the eye for me. If it was a package deal, but just Jeff Jarrett as it stands, even despite going down memory lane, unless you're going to put all of that in and justify why he's going into the Hall of Fame, this is where fans' perspectives could kind of be bended a little bit. I'm just going with a gut instinct. I'm calling it right now, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong. But my gut instinct is telling me that the video package presentation, if this were legit, if this were to be announced, my gut instincts is telling me that the way that this would be presented is you'd have Jeff Jarrett's work, early work before the WWF, be recognized. When he was in the WWE, the first go round, WCW, and that's pretty much it. Now, some would say, well, shit, Lee, that's enough for me. If they present it like that, I just have a feeling they're going to jip a lot as far as history goes. And honestly, maybe that's what the speech is all about, connecting the dots for folks. So, I mean, first things first, let's see what happens with the whole deal as far as if it's going to be announced. Because if it's not going to be announced, then it's kind of like, all right, so we're all off the hook. So let's go with that and then go from there. So you guys having fun? Hope you guys are still enjoying the show. We got a little bit more showtime left. You guys are doing pretty good here from what I'm seeing. All right, I'm liking that. I'm just taking a peek, seeing how we got the folks doing in Facebook. Everybody doing good. Everybody's doing good. I like that. Good. Let me just refresh. And it looks like everybody is doing good. All right. So what else can we get into, man? We got some more topics to get into. I really don't have anything to say about SmackDown this week. And I see they had got a pretty low number in the ratings this week as well. That episode really did come off pretty lackluster. I finally had watched Impact Wrestling, by the way. I watched last week's episode, and I got to tell you, it felt a little bit refreshing. Now, not to the point I want to do Impact Showdown again or anything like that. No, but it was refreshing. I saw a couple of things that made me go, okay, I kind of like what's happening right here. Okay. I tell you what, there's this one girl that jumped out at me. She is fine as I don't know what. She looked like she might like her some chocolate too. I think her name is Hanaya. Lord have mercy, that girl is thick. I'm looking at her and I'm just, be my girl, be my girl, be my girl. I need you in a desperate way. All those other girls were full of plain. It's not even a bother if I forgot their names. I'm just looking at Hanai and I'm just going, damn. Especially in the back. I'm just, damn. Give me some fries with that shake booty. I mean, seriously, man. God damn. Look her up. She is, woo, Lord have mercy. Hey, you guys remember Mahabala Shali or whatever that guy's name is that was in TNA? I know I butchered the hell out of that name too. There's going to be a lot of people probably ripping me a new one for that. But no, he actually reported to the WWE Performance Center. Wow. I mean, I'm just amazed at how many people have just been jumping ship from TNA. It's not even funny anymore. It's just, and kudos to Don Callis and Scott D'Amore. They're just, yeah, well, it was great having them here. We wish them all the very best, but we've got this other talent that's stepping up now, blah, blah, blah. What else are they supposed to say? I'm sure behind closed doors, they're probably saying, God damn, can we get a freaking break here? I'm sure that's what they're probably saying. Look, I'm not being all poo-pooing on Impact Wrestling right now. I do have some good news to share with you guys. They announced it this week that they're going to be broadcasting their upcoming WrestleCon event live on their Twitch channel. And the WrestleCon website notes that the event will be taking place on Friday, April 6th from the Sugar Mill in New Orleans during WWE's WrestleMania 34 week. Announced for the event as it stands right now, World Heavyweight Champion Austin Aries, Impact Tag Champions LAX, Grand Champion Matt Sydal, Alberto El Patron, Eli Drake, Moose, Rosemary, Sammy Callahan, Eddie Edwards, Trevor Lee, Khalib Conley, Ali, Taya Valkyrie, and Teddy Hart. That show is scheduled to start at 9 p.m. So it looks like that would be running head to head with WWE's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So for those of you that maybe want to take a little bit of a break, you want to maybe look at something else, you kind of have that moment. Of course, you definitely would be able to probably check it out on demand as well. Speaking of on demand, I know Ring of Honor did a free event that was about 3 hours long. I did not get a chance to watch that. I'll actually be watching that this weekend. Let's go back to Impact Wrestling. They also made an announcement with regards to the Redemption pay-per-view. Yes, there is a new pay-per-view they're doing. It's the Redemption pay-per-view. That's going to be happening Sunday, April 22nd from Universal Studios in Florida. And Impact had noted on Twitter that this is their first new tentpole pay-per-view to be added since 2005, meaning that this is the first time they've introduced a new pay-per-view name for one of the major shows since Genesis 2005. So the impression initially, a lot of folks were thinking that as far as pay-per-views go for TNA, it was going to be going down in Canada, but they're going to be doing this one in or on US soil, I should say. So that should be great for fans that actually love Impact. They're in North America and they're somewhat near the Florida area. This gives you a little bit more motivation to maybe try and check it out. Speaking of wrestling events, for those of you that's going to be in the DMV this weekend, I've actually got something cool for you guys to check out. It's up to you, but I want to show some love to one of my good buddies, the Casey Carlisle, as she is going to be part of this event along with James Ellsworth and Austin Aries. Gilbert is going to be there as well. I am talking about the ACW promotion. They're going to be debuting in Glen Burnie, Maryland. That's going to be happening Friday night, February the 16th. And tickets are pretty damn affordable, man. So you all may want to check that one out. Again, that is ACW Adrenaline Championship Wrestling. Jerry the King Lawler's going to be there as well. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. for meet and greet. The bell time is 8 p.m. Tickets for the front row is $40. Rows 2 to 3, ringside, $30. General admission, $20. And if you have kids, if they're 7 and under, they get free general admission. They're going to be at where are they here? They're going to be at Michael's 8th Avenue. Looks like they're going to be at 7220 Grayburn Drive in Glen Burnie, Maryland, 21061. Again, they're going to be at 7220 Grayburn Drive in Glen Burnie, Maryland, 21061. With prices that damn good, I don't know. I might actually make a cameo. I don't know. And then afterwards, they're going to be doing something really cool. They're going to be having an after party at Lito's Pizza in Glen Burnie. God damn, I love me some Lito's. So I might actually talk to the missus about that. I think I might actually look into that. We'll see. All right. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that more and more and more, man. Seriously. All right. What else can we get into, guys? Y'all seen the latest photo of Mike Kanellis? You mean the guy has been sober now for one day at a time, of course, but he's stringing them along very nicely. But the guy is looking seriously ripped when you look at when he first came to the WWE. And yeah, he's been off TV. But hey, I like what's happening with the guy since we haven't been seeing him. He looks really freaking ripped. The guy looks good. Best shape I've seen him in, and I've been a fan of his work since the Ring of Honor days. And I'm telling you, this is the best shape that he's been in. Loving it. Honestly, I'm just a little bit more curious what's going on as far as him coming back to the WWE. At some point, I'd like to see the guy come back. Seemed like things didn't really go off on a good note when his singles run began in the WWE. So I can't help but wonder now if maybe the second go round, if Lady Luck will be a charm. So yeah, we'll see. I was talking about SmackDown earlier. So it looks like 2.444 million viewers. This is down from 2.2% from last week's 2.505 million viewers, and is the lowest blue brand viewership of 2018. This is also the lowest SmackDown viewership going back to the October 31st, 2017 Halloween edition episode that drew 2.119 million viewers. Last non-holiday episode that drew less viewers was an October 17th episode that drew 2.320 million viewers. So, hey, you did have basketball that was on that night, but at the same time, it's kind of getting to that point where you got some people that are looking at some of these shows that we're getting each week, and they're kind of saying, we're not really getting anything interesting. Nothing's really popping, nothing's really sizzling. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying a couple of weeks ago, which is it doesn't even feel like we're on the road to WrestleMania. And the latest buzz that's coming about right now is, oh, well, the road to WrestleMania, story arcs, everything is not going to be popping and sizzling, not until after the Elimination Chamber. And you're kind of going, really? Are you serious? It's not going to, no. You need to get things popping like right now. Don't wait until I don't know, guys. For me personally, I just don't know. I just don't know. Let's see. What else can we get into on the show? Trying to figure out what else we can get into before. Oh, somebody asked me, how do I feel about Paige and her new boyfriend? some boy named Kalen Blem, and the guy looks kind of cool. Look, honestly, see, that's why I couldn't be a dad. Because if I were a dad and I had a daughter, I would just be like, "Hun, you just got out of one relationship, all the stuff that went down with the porn, all that. Just worry about taking care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of yourself physically, get yourself back into the spirit of things. Just enjoy you, just take care of you for a while. And once you got everything really nice, good going, don't look for love, don't look for a significant other. Kind of just let the chips fall where it may. Just let it happen naturally." That would be my message. If I had a daughter, that would be my message to her. Look, man, at the end of the day, what I give a damn about when it comes to my favorite performers, entertainers, athletes, what they're doing on my TV for the 2+ hours that I'm able to watch them. That's what I care about the most. I hope that their personal life, I hope that everything is going good. I hope that they're happy. And I just hope that they continue liking what they're doing, because for me, it means a lot to see them on my TV, especially if I get the opportunity to meet them in person, and or I'm in a position where I'm able to have a sit down conversation, whether it's in person or maybe it's through a phone, Skype, whatever. But I do care about their happiness. I don't care about this. I just want her to be happy. And if she thinks that she's found that happiness with this guy, then hey, more power to her. I really hope that she's learned a thing or two from what went down with Alberto, and she's taking it slow and just baby steps. That's honestly the best thing you can do right now, is take it one day at a time. I mean, look, the girl was just, one could make the argument she had a crush, a huge crush on Alberto, but that was some serious baggage. That's asking a lot to take on somebody that is in the process of dealing with a divorce and then trying to figure out what's going to happen with the kids. It's like not even you walk into the situation. Hey, here's these kids, and the kids aren't even your kids. So that's asking a lot. That's asking a lot. So for her to now be out of that situation, and hopefully now things are somewhat on an even playing field. Yeah, I'm really hoping that things are good for her from here on out. Show you guys some love in the chat here. Let's see what we got going on here. Do. Steven, it's been 2 years since what? You know what I'm saying? Been 2 years. She have not won WWE Women's Championship. Who's it been 2 years for? Who are you talking about, man? What the hell? I'm just looking at some crazy ass stuff in the chat here. Wait a minute. Now, see, that I like. That I like. Nothing to talk. I like that. Going back to the talk of the banned gun and all that from earlier, he said even if they ban gun, there's many ways to get them, but people can still kill, not just gun, just a killer mind that convince them of killing. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. That's why I said what I said earlier. Like it goes so much more beyond than just the talk of gun control. You got to do a lot more. And I still feel the whole security standpoint, that's what you really got to capitalize on, honestly. Gino, what's up, Gino? If Coco Beware and the Bushwhackers can be in the Hall of Fame, so can Jeff Jarrett. I'm not going to beat that horse to death. I said my piece already. I don't want to do overkill. See, that's my New Year's resolution. Don't try to do overkill so much on a topic. And I'm with you, Gino. Yeah, if Hanea, if she was on Impact every week, Yeah. She's not on Impact though anymore, right? Because didn't she part ways from the company, guys, or was that some type of a rumor that was coming about? Because I remember something that had said she was fired, but then I want to say she cleared the air on social media and was like, no, no, no. I just mutually parted ways with Impact Wrestling. I was not fired. I'm pretty sure the latter is what had came about. It's weird I had refreshed just now because I swear I didn't see any freaking comments in the chat via YouTube, and something just said refresh and see what happens. And then we got a refresh and now we're good to go. So that's good. See what else we got here. Let me poke my head in the Spreaker chat, see if we got anything new coming in here. Let me see here. Yeah, Razy, you know what I'm talking about, man. Yeah, it is improving. I like it. It was refreshing. What I watched last week was very, very impressive. And yes, Hanea is freaking hot. Yes, I almost forgot about Carrie Hogan. Yeah, that's a nice fine piece of chocolate, man. She's a cute little button as well, man. I'm liking her as well. See, I want to get into just a couple of other topics and then we're going to get ready to wrap it up. I think the way this is looking right now, you guys are going to have like about a 2 hour, maybe like a 2 hour, 10-minute show. There's not really anything else more I want to get into. Like I said, with regards to SmackDown, not enough to talk about. You guys got like full recap shows for that. I told you guys I'm done doing. If it's a pay-per-view, I'm there. But if I wasn't feeling the show, I'm only going to talk about key things that I had liked. And for me, there just wasn't enough for SmackDown this week to even make me want to even like go there. So one thing I do want to bring up to you guys, how many of you all are Smashing Pumpkins fans? How many of you have been waiting patiently to somewhat see the original lineup get together? Well, you probably, maybe you heard about this, maybe you didn't, but Smashing Pumpkins, there's been rumblings the past several months that they were trying to, Billy Corgan, that is, was trying to get something going together with the original lineup, go on tour, maybe put out some type of a new album, things of that nature. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm hearing that. I'm kind of going, you know what? I never did get an opportunity to see the Smashing Pumpkins live in person and to be in a position where I can like see the original lineup close to it. Shit. That actually sounds pretty damn good. I would love to see something like that. So one of the things that has kind of been like a driving factor these recent months has been, well, what's going on with Darcy? Everybody's favorite bass violin player, Darcy. It's like, well, what's up with Darcy? We gotta have Darcy. It ain't Smashing Pumpkins if you ain't got Darcy. It ain't Smashing Pumpkins if you ain't got James Ea. You got it. Just got to. Jimmy James Chamberlain, he's cool too in his own respected right. So apparently we've got the Smashing Pumpkins, but there's a catch. It's Smashing Pumpkins, but we don't have Darcy. So now you're kind of saying to yourself, well, if we don't have Darcy, does that mean we have Melissa off their mar? No, we don't have her. We've got some other person that is picking up the base responsibilities, and it had like a lot of Smashing Pumpkins fans pissed off. Now, if you ask me straight up off the break, am I pissed? I'm not pissed. I am a little bit like concerned though, right? So Darcy and Billy Corgan, they engaged in several text messages over the course of a day, couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks. And Billy Corgan, we all know. We all know the guy is a freaking perfectionist. He loves things to be 100% accurate. He is like, you got to bring it. If you're going to be torn, if you're going to be going to the studio, like you got to bring your all into it or don't come at all. So as he's talking with Darcy, telling her about what her role would be, he's being sympathetic. He comes off very sympathetic, very understanding that, hey, I know your shoulder, it's not really good. I know you're about to get surgery and all that. I kind of want to bring you in a little bit slow. I want to get you kind of going on a couple of shows on the tour, get you in on a couple of sessions, and once you get your surgery, then we just take it slow. We just do little baby steps. And Darcy is just excited at this opportunity. She really wants to get in on this. And text messages, it just morphs into, honestly, from what I read of the text messages, it morphs into Billy Corgan just becoming an asshole and basically saying to Darcy, what you deserve is, I don't know, see if maybe you can get your face put on a t-shirt. Good luck with people buying that. I mean, just taking these cheap shots at her. Billy would have you believe that Darcy was being difficult, that he tried, but she wasn't caving in. But the series of text messages that she revealed shows otherwise, that she was being more than cordial. She was being more than respectful. She was more than willing to be a team player. I can understand where Billy's coming from to a certain degree, because Billy's like, okay, you're getting this surgery. Yeah, you're not really going to be at 100%. I kind of want to bring you in baby steps here and there, but you just got to see the text messages for yourself if you haven't seen it already. Billy in the end just comes off like a dick. And so that has a lot of people kind of going, what the hell? So your new lineup as it stands right now, you've got Billy Corgan, James Ea, Jimmy Chamberlain, and Jeff Schroeder. That is your new lineup. So no Darcy. I know there's a lot of you guys that's like, Darcy was the shit. Darcy was the shit. And for those of you that's like, what's my favorite Smashing Pumpkins album? See, I'm more into the hard style of Smashing Pumpkins. So for me, I had loved Zygis. I love that. That's like one of my favorite go-to albums. I also love Machina. I love Machina, The Machines of God. That was a really great album as well. That's probably my all-time favorite Smashing Pumpkins album. And it's kind of fitting that that's actually like my all-time favorite album, because that actually has all of them. That has James, that has James Ea, that has Billy, that has Darcy, that has Jimmy Chamberlain. But as you know, Darcy was only on certain tracks doing bass on that one. Billy did most of the bass work for that particular album. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a follow-up to that one. Y'all probably don't know about the follow-up. The follow-up that actually was released for free on the Smashing Pumpkins website. There was actually a sequel to this, because the original concept that Billy had, he wanted to do a deluxe album. But the record label was like, yeah, that's going to cost too much. We don't really think people will really get behind this concept. Just put out a album with, decent amount of tracks. We'll pass on the deluxe stuff. And that's exactly what went down. But he did eventually release it for free. I enjoyed that as well. Probably one of my favorite tracks from that sequel follow-up was Slow Dawn. And there's actually a remix version of that on the latest Smashing Pumpkins Greatest Hits compilation. So I just thought that was kind of interesting to share with you guys. So I don't know how you all feel about that, but for me personally, it's kind of like, damn, in the day and age where we've got all of these musicians, now let's bring it home. Let's look at the bigger picture. You've got all of these musicians that's just been dropping left and right. And you have this scenario where, man, you just kind of really appreciate life more than ever. And whatever beef you have with people, you just want to squash it. You just want to let bygones be bygones and get back to, in this case, making good music, just being friends again, whatnot, because you're not promised tomorrow. There's no guarantee. So to see that you still got whatever between Darcy and Billy, it's just silly. And to know that Darcy did try, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, her stuff, she was showing bogus crap. If she's showing this stuff from her own phone, it's legit as far as I'm concerned. Especially, I don't know if she's done it yet, but if she's recorded a video of herself, like maybe a friend recording her showing the text messages with Billy, and it's got his phone number right there. Of course, you want to protect Billy's phone number, but yeah, if she has a video set up like that, it's like, who are we to even doubt that? I don't know which is more of the interesting story, the fact that we've got that's going on, or the fact that you've got ACDC, apparently a new album could be happening, and the new album could be happening with Axl Rose doing vocals. I don't know about you guys. That ain't ACDC. That would be like, what would I think of that as? Maybe a tribute band. I'm just saying. I mean, unless that, even if that album was on point, is it really deserving of being called ACDC? My heart is so torn hearing that. It's not even funny. It's like, wait a minute, wait, say what? Like, get out of here, man. Hey, for you guys that were into the old school R&B rap, you know how much of a big fan I am of Unsung, and Unsung is going to be coming back very soon. I want to say Unsung is going to be coming back on, looking at the calendar here. I want to say Unsung is either coming back this Sunday or they're coming back Sunday the 25th. The first episode that they're going to be showing is on Silk. So love me some Unsung. I've been waiting for that series to come back for a good minute now. Kind of caught up on some episodes I never saw before. Caught up on Switch. Switch was like before the barge and all that had went down. It was really good group. So they're doing a nice little marathon. I don't know how many times during the week, or if it's a once a week deal, or if they're doing it on multiple days, but they're showing a lot of episodes of Unsung, so you guys can get ready for the new season. So I'm pretty pumped up for that one. Other than that, let's take one last look, make sure we're not missing any breaking news that's coming about right now. I honestly think we're doing pretty good. I'm checking the chats one more time just to make sure we're all on point. Let me look here. Okay, yeah, I think it's looking good. Poke my head in the chat here. Yeah, we got everybody. Everybody's good. So I said this was going to be like a 2-hour, about 10-minute show. We did pretty good. Stick a fork in it. DONE done. A lot of great content for you to check out in the meantime, man. So make sure you give this episode a thumbs up, like it. Don't forget, the RCWR Show now has its own show app. If you're an Android user, you can download it for free in the Google Play Store, so you always know when I come on live. It's great. Got the chat. Everything's built in. It's free. You can't beat free. So download the app, support the show that way. Patreon, as I mentioned at the top of the show, it got revamped. So for those of you that want to check out 30 with Lee episodes and more, you got to cough up $5. I know the old format that we did, it was $1, but one of the things that I had honestly found that was a little bit disheartening, that made me say, okay, you know what? Let me go back to the drawing board. It was disheartening having the $1 option there, and more people were just doing the dollar option. And let me tell you, the cut, when that gets broken down, like, that's only, if I'm lucky, 60 cents. So it's kind of like, wait a minute. So I'm putting out new content, and we have some people that are kind of, and I'm not trying to say it to make some people feel bad, because I don't want people to feel bad at all, because it's ultimately my fault, because I'm the one that's making the tiers. But it definitely made me go back to the drawing board and say, okay, well, what can we really do to make it be worthwhile? So under the $5 tier, you get access to 30 with Lee episodes, any Call That Match editions that are exclusive, any exclusive RCWR Show episodes. There's going to be a bonus show that's just going to feature me and Tammy talking about some random topics. That's going to be a fun show. We're actually looking to sit down and do something before this month is out. So that's going to be fun. lot of cool stuff that we got planned. But I mean, as it stands right now, if you sign up on Patreon, there is at least 12, 11 or 12 episodes of 30 with Lee that's available right now. We had recorded a new episode last week. We had reviewed Al Pacino in 2017's Hangman movie. While we're in the flow of Pacino, we're getting ready to talk about his 2014 performance and the movie Danny Collins. So we're actually going to be dropping that this week. So now that I have the free time again, we're definitely doing more and more for Patreon, and I definitely welcome any feedback, any suggestions, things of that nature. And I tell you this, if Impact Wrestling continues to keep doing what they're doing and pressing me by the week, Impact Showdown could come back as well, but that could just be a Patreon exclusive as well. So feel free to sign up, check out the content, patreon.com/RCWR Show. If you missed Slow Jamming with Lee, that aired Valentine's Day night, that's now available on demand and on the downloads. You can also check out the great conversation I had with Sean Oliver from Kayfabe Commentaries. We talked about his new book, Kayfabe Stories You're Not Supposed to Hear from a Pro Wrestling Production Company owner. How, wow, I remember that in one take. That's great, right? I like that. Didn't rehearse that one. That's a long title, right? We talked about that, some other cool stuff. You got the appearance that I had made last week for an entire episode of Wrestling Soup. So there's a lot of great content to keep you guys busy right now. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I'm at the RCWR Show. Shout out to everybody in the chat. However you accessed it. Could be on Facebook, YouTube, Spreaker. Shout out to everybody, and definitely big shout out to everybody that's going to be checking this out on the downloads. So until next go round, I am all wishing all of you all to be safe and most importantly be kind to one another. YouTube, have a good night, good morning,